Welcome to another Demarcation Media action figure review. It's been a long time since I've reviewed a proper action figure, but today we have one of the new Wicked Cool Toys Halo figures. Alright, there he is in the package, and this guy was graciously provided to me by World Trader for Mega Constructs. The link to that Facebook group is down in the description. Definitely go join. There's a lot of cool stuff there. If you've got Mega Constructs stuff to sell or trade, that is this place you want to be. So, big thanks to them for providing this figure for me. And I'm excited to take a look at this guy. So, this is part of the, I think it's Jazwares puts this stuff out. I don't really know how the distribution works for these figures, but take a look at the side of the box, back of the box. I'm a little surprised at how little information there is on this box, like about the figure. There's no like blurb about Chief or whatever. A lot of action figure boxes will put a blurb about the character, but not so with this guy. So let's just go ahead and get him open. All right, and now I get to figure out how exactly to open this box. See, the great thing about Mega Constructs boxes or Lego boxes is typically you know exactly how to open them because they all are mostly the same. Whereas with action figure boxes, it's different every time. And with every company too. Okay. Oh, there's more tape. I always miss some tape. Okay, I think we should be able to open it up now. Okay, well the package is getting destroyed. So if you are a collector and like to keep your packages intact, you're gonna have a hard time. Chief is free, his AR is free, and then, whoa, he's got a stand, and then there is a game add-on for Halo Infinite. That's pretty cool. There he is, all out of the box with his stand and his gun, which can plug onto his back. That's pretty cool. So to start, let's just go ahead and get some size comparisons. First guy we'll drop in is one of my favorite action figures of all time, which is the Marvel Legends Miles Morales Spider-Man. And then also we will drop in the Halo 5 Master Chief from McFarlane Toys. And you can see that this version of Chief, the Jazwares Chief, is quite small. He is a full head shorter than both figures here. And I think that's purposeful. This guy is supposed to be a smaller scale. And so far, I mean, it seems to work out. Smaller scale means less articulation, but I'm actually pretty surprised with this guy. He kind of beats the McFarlane Chief in terms of articulation. Not Spider-Man. Spider-Man just is the best. But let's just go ahead and take a look at what this guy can do. So real quick, let me show you the stand. It's nothing special. It looks like it can connect to maybe the other stands from this line. Looks a little on the bright side to me. Could have been a little darker, but it's a good stand. There's Chief. His AR plugs onto his back in lieu of that little hole there. It did come bent in the package. It's kind of bent downward, which is a bummer, but it is a softer plastic, so take a hair dryer, heat it up, and it'll bend right back into place. So let's just start from the head down and look at how this guy moves. So he can move his head all the way to this side, all the way to that side. That's about as far up as he can look. But looking down, he can really look down. And then do we have any side to side? Not really. It just kind of is a little loose on the joint. And then for the arms, we can go out to about here. So unfortunately, there is no T-posing for this chief. And that is really just the armor's design. Only way I think they could have gotten around this is if they had put a hinge on this piece here. But again, this is a smaller figure, so that's a little much to ask for. And then, of course, we have a full 360 on both arms. And then we have an elbow swivel. And this joint reminds me very much of the McFarlane Chief, the way it works. And then it kind of goes like that. And that's the full bend. You know, about 90 degrees. Not much better. I feel like they probably could have gotten around this by adding another joint lower down, making this a double jointed arm. But again, on smaller figures like this, they tend to just do single joints. The hand swivels like so, and it can tip forward and up like that, which is important for holding on to the gun. The torso has some movement upward. That surprised me. I was not expecting that at all. That's a lot. Forward a little bit, side to side. Yep, some. There's kind of another joint down near the waist that doesn't really do much. My only complaint about this joint is the fact that it's a little on the loose side, so it kind of bobbles back and forth. Down here, and this is where I really was surprised. So we've got that far upward. Yeah, that's good. Back, you can get to about here before it starts hitting. And then out. Look at that. That's nice. You can get a good kick. And then he's also got a thigh swivel that's hidden perfectly by the armor. Perfectly. Now, let's move to the knees. This really, really surprised me. So we have a joint up here. That gives us about that much of a bend. That's respectable. You know, like, they could have chosen to just leave it at that, but they didn't. Look what they did here. You bend it, you get a double jointed knee, a huge range of motion there, and they added an extra little armor plate to make this bend look better. That's really nice, and I really was not expecting something that advanced from this figure. Like, look at that. That's nice. That is very nice. And then for the foot, we have a hinge here that moves all the way up to here, which that's a great range of motion, but the joint is so tight. Like, it scares me how tight this is. I feel like it's gonna break. Go back to about there. Very good. And then you can swivel his foot all around like that. Same with this side, and this side was even harder to make move. I don't know what gummed up that joint, but it did. And then as a result, the foot is a little bit more loose. So that's a bit of a bummer, but that is some nice articulation. So he has plenty of posing options. The stiff joints for some of these were definitely an issue, and loose joints are a problem for other spots, particularly the torso and the ankles. So he's solid in that regard. I think maybe some parts, like especially this torso, might need some tightening up, but I think it's pretty solid. Like, I was not expecting that much engineering from this little guy. But how does he look? Because that's the kind of the important thing here is, you know, he might pose well, but if he looks really bad, then there's not really a point in getting it. Here's that AR. Again, you can see it's bent, and it's pretty simple in terms of its paintwork. There's the peg, and then it can go into either of Chief's hands. And I've been spoiled getting action figures with multiple sets of hands, so having an action figure with only one set of hands is kind of strange to me. But you can put it in long ways like that and then turn it, and then he kind of grips it like so. And I'm pretty sure that he could grab it with both hands. Let me see here. Can I make it work? Yeah, he definitely can. So just starting from the head down. That visor, yeah, that's nice. I like that visor. It's very well applied. No real bleed over. Looks good. The black sections looks good as well. This one looks like it was fired on there a little bit off center, but it's not bad. The lights are painted. We've got some paint on the, I don't know, what are those things? Those little vents there. And then some white on the shoulder section here. We've got the 117, the kind of burn mark that we've seen in all of the promo art for Halo Infinite. We've got silver dry brushing all the way down. And again, the way they did this thigh swivel, they really went out of their way to keep the aesthetic of the figure correct. Got some more paint work there. Silver dry brushing kind of washed over the whole figure, random spots. More black. Hand. That's a nice armor plate there. And the way they did the elbow joint, the single joint kind of keeps the look of the undersuit. Like it really, you can't really see the joint at all. It just is there, but you can't see it. There we go. More silver. That hole is a little unsightly, but it provides a space for the AR to go on there. So that's quite acceptable, because how could you not have Chief with his AR on his back? More print. Those letters are quite the eyesore. But aside from that, I'd say this figure is pretty solid in terms of looks. Like, I don't see anything really wrong with this figure in terms of looks. All the boxes that they needed to check were hit, and he just looks good. So, what is the final verdict on this guy? And so, this guy is a $10 action figure. I typically kind of avoid the smaller, cheaper action figures because they don't usually deliver. Typically, the articulation is poor, or it just looks really plasticky, and it is just not worth it. But this guy is nice. The way they've made his articulation, the way they've done the paint job. Sure, a few spots of his armor look a little on the plasticky side, and he's got those letters on the back of his leg. But he looks really nice, and he really surprised me. Like, I was not expecting much from this figure at all, and it delivered in ways I was not even expecting. I don't know how he's going to hold up over time, with lots of posing. Again, those stiff joints kind of worry me, but I would say definitely this guy is worth it. I would say if you can find him, go ahead and grab him. If you're a Halo fan, if you're looking for something to pose around, something to put on your desk, go ahead and get him. He looks good, he works good, and plus you'll get an add-on for the game too if you decide to get the game. So definitely go see if you can find these guys. I know Target sells them, and I've seen them at Walmart too. Again, I've heard something about this chief being like 1 per case or something like that, per case of figures, but I think he's definitely worth hunting down. Thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like and consider subscribing, and I'll see you next time.